What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Pretty Good Gaming Podcast, episode number 66. It's me, Jake Kulkowski, your host for this evening. Liam McKelvey and Gareth Evans are with me today. Mike's not here because he's somewhere crying on a beach. He's on vacation or holiday if you're not from the USA, so it's good to be back in the hosting seat. It's been a while. We're here to answer some Patreon questions. If you're not sure about how this podcast works, maybe it's your first ever Pretty Good Gaming Podcast. Basically, our lovely Patreon supporters ask us questions every single week. The link is on the screen now if you want to go and have a little look. And we answered the questions, and we've also got some extra features. We've got some very exciting features, actually. Fact of the week and Dead Cred Redemption. Lots of questions this week and lots of Dead Cred Redemption emails.
The critically acclaimed Red Dead Redemption.
Oh my God, it's going down with the people. It's going down with the critics. It's insane. It's certified fresh Rotten Tomatoes. It's very well received. We're getting about one Dead Cred Redemption email every 2 hours or something silly like that. So a lot. Lots of nice questions as well. And let's kick things off. Okay. Sydney Davis. First, simple question, but then he elaborates. Kojima, genius or 16-year-old who never grew up? He says, I've always heard he was a genius, so I played Metal Gear Solid 1 and loved it. Played Metal Gear Solid 2 and hated it. Thinking, this is $1 million fan fiction. Loved the gameplay, but I couldn't get invested in the characters or the world. Do any of the later titles get better? I really want to enjoy them, but can't without a story. So Hideo Kojima, genius or 16-year-old boy trapped in a 50-something-year-old Japanese man's body?
Can I just jump in before, because I don't have much to say about this topic. I don't think that genius and 16-year-old trapped in a man's body have to be mutually exclusive. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no, you can be
both.
totally both. Yeah, very, very fair point.
I'm firmly on the side that he's a genius, because, I don't know, he brings that like sheer madness to everything.
Yep.
And he does it so well. I mean, it's just like, you never know what you're going to get with a Kojima game, really.
He brings charisma, he brings flair, doesn't he?
He does, yeah. He's got a certain style to him where as soon as you see it, it's like, this is a Kojima game. It's like, and it's just like, it's baffling but makes sense at the same time. Is really the best way to describe his stories.
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't, but when you are a so-called genius or definitely a creative person, you've got all these crazy ideas, you're always going to get some that hit and are so original that they hit harder than a safe idea. But because of that, you're also going to have like ideas that miss. You're going to have these wacky ideas. Kojima's got these great stories. Sometimes it's just completely like, huh? And sometimes it's just like, oh, okay, I get it, cool. So with Kojima, because he's so creative, sometimes he's going to have ideas that go over your head, they go way past you, whatever. As for the other games, Metal Gear Solid 2 isn't my favourite one, personally.
It's one of the most divisive.
Yeah.
Metal Gear Solid 2 and 4 are probably the ones that split the fans right down the middle.
Pretty much.
But
pretty much.
I would say play Metal Gear Solid 3, because that is generally considered the best.
Yeah.
And like the least wacky out of them all.
Yes.
It's more based in reality, this one, compared to the other ones, which have, like, genome soldiers and giant mechs and stuff like that.
It's a different setting as well, rather than scurrying through warehouses and ships and pipes and metal rafters. You're in a nice little jungle area, so it's worth checking out just for that. Sydney Davis, but Hideo Kojima, genius or 16-year-old who never grew up.
Both.
Who are we to judge?
Yeah, probably both.
Who are we when I
think he's ascended, He's on another plane of existence compared to us.
So hopefully that answers your question, Sydney. Thank you very much for your question. Next, it's Mike Hazam, who says, fellas, spot on job as always. Thanks. With the reveal of Battlefield 5 being set in World War II, has a game and franchise ever put you off purely due to its historical setting? I would have personally loved a Vietnam Battlefield game. So have you ever not bought a game just because you're not into space games, war games, Vietnam, World War II, dragons? Is there a historical setting or the base of the game?
Well,
ever?
The beauty of these types of games is that they come around every single year. So if you don't like one setting, then you can have a new one next year. If you don't like World War I, you can have World War II this year. And if you don't like World War II this year, you probably have like a futuristic setting or something else fresh next year. I don't think I'm ever put off by the setting. Because I kind of like the World War II theme, or I have up until this point. What puts me off this, as we covered in one of the videos from last week, if you're watching, it's just not. It just seems fantastical to me, like alternate reality. It's not it's not close enough to real reality for me, and that's what puts me off. The setting itself is fine. World War II, it appeals to me. It's other things that put me off.
Liam, what about you? Have you ever not bought a game because it's just got a different setting or something?
What settings don't you like is the question. Like, what game would put you off from it? What setting would put you off?
I'm not really put off by like setting or anything like that. There's certain settings I do prefer. Like, I'm not really big into medieval fantasy, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I'd prefer, like, if it's going to be a fantasy game, I like it to have a bit more weird elements to it. Like, with Final Fantasy, it's got airships and stuff like that in it.
Yeah.
But, like, the more nitty and gritty medieval fantasy stuff it's not really for me.
Yeah, and then the high fantasy stuff, like, for instance, the Total War Warhammer puts me off. Because I don't like that. Historically, being a Total War gamer, I feel like that setting isn't for me. I prefer the realism of historical accuracy, as close as you can get it, where you've got like orcs and special heroes, generals walking around and stuff. It's just not my setting, and I use that as my example of the setting that put me off. Like, I like Total War. I'm not really interested in the high fantasy.
Yeah, it's that's funny because both. We're
the opposite, right?
And same with Liam as well.
I prefer the Warhammer approach.
To be honest. I love the medieval stuff. I love anything with castles in, anything with dragons in, any of that. So both what you guys say and put you off is kind of the complete opposite of me. Where I'll buy a game even if it doesn't seem that interesting. Sometimes to my behest, just because it's like medieval or it's got dragons or whatever. Some things that I don't really like. It's the complete opposite. Is spacey games kind of just like, I don't know, like they must really do something special to hook me in. I'm not really bothered about a game if it takes place in space. I'm just like, I don't know.
Really? It doesn't appeal to you.
It's one of the best settings in space.
Exactly, no. It's
like the high seas has got to be putting off for you as well.
Well, yeah,
because of your fear of drowning.
I don't like the ocean in real life, so or in video games actually. So yeah, luckily for me, there's not been that many games set on the high sea as of late. Sea of Thieves, kind of. But yeah, space like Stellaris versus I don't know something like Crusader Kings. My eye would immediately go to Crusader Kings, even though it's an older title, because space for me is just it has an easier opportunity to be boring because it's so vast. But when done right, can be amazing. And if that new Bethesda one, Starfield, Spaceland, if that smashes it, that could be up there. But it'll never be as good as Skyrim because that's what I like the most. Do you know what I mean? Like, just down to personal preference.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's funny that because we are the complete opposite when it comes to that. Hopefully, that is what you meant, Mike Hazam, and I think it is. And if not, that was a good enough answer anyway, wasn't it, guys?
Of course it was.
Two questions I've kind of bundled into one now because we get a lot of questions and they're pretty much the same thing. What have we got planned for E3 coverage this year? We've answered this. Oh, and what games are we looking forward to at E3, specifically any sequels? Now, me and Gaz specifically, I guess, have answered this quite a lot on Twitch stream. But if you've not seen our Twitch stream, I don't know if you would have answered this in the podcast. So, guys, E3, it's only a couple of weeks away. By the time this rolls out to the public, it's about a week and a half. What are you looking forward to seeing there? And how are we going to cover it? It's the same as how we normally cover stuff, isn't it? Is that the answer?
Yeah, that's it. How about yourself? Just what are you looking forward to, Liam? I guess
pretty much everything Sony's got to show. They've got Ghost of Tsushima,
all four
Death Stranding, Spider-Man, and Last of Us Part 2. I can't wait to see whatever they've got to show for that. Mm-hmm. I'm interested in there's quite a few mystery reveals that have been teased. Capcom have been teasing something.
Yeah.
It's like possibly Resident Evil related, which has got me excited. Being a big fan of that and all. And I don't, because there's a Microsoft as well, actually, because they've promised this is their biggest E3 ever. And I'm really interested to see how they follow up the Xbox One X. They've got the most powerful console. What are they going to put on it?
Let's see if they use that and make some games for us, damn it.
See what they have for us this year.
Yeah, because you've got an Xbox. I mean, you invested in that One X. So I guess you're highly anticipating what they're going to do with it and the games that they're going to show off. So.
And they've got a lot of good IP. They've got all of the Rare stuff. They've got Perfect Dark and all that. And
Fable,
hopefully. That'd be good.
That could be the best thing at E3 if they get that right.
Yeah.
I think the last 2 years or so of Microsoft, they've been going hardware. They can't now, after they finally put out the Xbox One X, they can't can't tease a brand new, even more powerful console. So I don't think it's going to be hardware related, which means it can only be one other thing, software related. And I've got a good feeling about it. It'd be interesting. I don't know if this has been dispelled since, but there was that thing about Microsoft's E3 presentation being about a 2-hour schedule that you could look in. So it could be really a big conference for Microsoft. And considering they're the ones that I'm not normally excited about, I don't even have an Xbox, I want to get excited about it because this is our job. I love looking at how Nintendo are doing. PlayStation, they speak for themselves. That they've had 10 games this year, number one in the chart. They've killed it. So I'd love to see what Microsoft are bringing to the table. And other than that, From Software, for me, and Ghost of Tsushima. They're my two ones. What are you guys?
I think what I look forward to most at E3 is just the new announcements of games. It's like, you didn't know about this game previously, it's coming soon, check this out. And just that like initial discovery of what's going to be coming is, and in that vein, I think Bethesda's my most anticipated
it's a good show.
Presentation, because I just want Starfield and I want it fucking now, right? That's the type of Bethesda shout. And their RPGs. I've loved them for years, right? And so I'm really excited to see what comes next from them. Also, Red Dead Redemption 2. I want to see a bit more about that. It's not a new game announcement, but I want to see more of the world. They're
going to have to show gameplay, right?
Yeah. Well, the press have had their hands on behind the scenes, but they weren't allowed to show any footage.
No,
they were only allowed to talk about what they played. So it is in a playable build, and hopefully they will show off some of the world, how your character can interact with the world, and and how that all works out. Because Rockstar, obviously, one of the best for making worlds, and one of the parts that. The reasons I loved the original Red Dead was the world, right? And I would just want to see it. I just want to see what it is. And the other one is Last of Us 2. I want to see some gameplay for that too.
I think they're both safe bets. I think hopefully you'll get your wish. I reckon. In fact, I'll go as far as to say I think Todd Howard will come out and do some Starfield shit.
Yeah.
And all three of, well, we don't know how far away Last of Us is, but hopefully Bethesda release something this winter, and Red Dead, that we know that's out in October. So there's a lot to be excited about. And if you love games like we do, it is all good. It's all good.
And to answer the other question, how we'll be covering it, we'll be watching it with our mouths open for a lot of it. Enjoying what we see, and then just doing what we feel like afterwards. We'll probably do some sort of roundup after each day like we've done in the past, and maybe discuss some of the most biggest highlights for us personally. I think that's the best way to do it.
Yeah, we did it last year and you guys seemed to like it and watch it that way. We, like you're saying, we did like a little roundup of the big ones, didn't we? And then we did like our picks where we all got on camera and did a little thing. It started off with Mike doing that, Jesse Whelan's like little skit thing,
which was cool.
And it was a cool. It's the most it's like this fucking Super Bowl of games, isn't it?
It is the highlight of the calendar. That's for sure for us.
So hopefully that answers your question. Timberwolf and Lance, I combined your questions there. Sorry, but thanks to you both. Phil McCracken next, who says, I've recently... Yeah, exactly. I'm sure that's his real name, guys. I'm sure that's his Christian name, Phil, and the last name McCracken. Nothing suspicious here. I recently played through The Witcher 3, and amongst all the sex and violence, one scene really stood out. It was a scene where Geralt got pissed with two other witches, which led to cross-dressing booty calls and chasing goats. I can't remember a time where I laughed so much playing a game. Can you think of any other times games have made you literally... laugh out loud?
Yeah, Kingdom Come Deliverance, man. There's if you've played it, you'll know what I'm talking about. There's a mission in that is just flat out funny. And I was there. I was laughing out loud. There was a sheep on the screen, and I was laughing at the sheep. It was that funny. It was hilarious.
That's good because it's spoiler-free as well.
One of the best missions in any RPG game I've ever played, and it's in Kingdom Come Deliverance. That buggy as hell game. Although I do love it, it's buggy as hell, but there is one where it's well worth playing just for that one mission.
There'll be lots of people Googling that now because you've made it seem very. What is it?
Yeah, it's the what's this? It's like the vicar dude.
Is he a priest or something?
Priest.
That's
the priest mission. Everyone knows what I'm talking about if you've seen it.
If you've played
it's
it,
awesome.
How about you, Liam? Any games that made you laugh?
Famous one is Conker's Bad Fur Day.
Yeah,
on the N64 because the entire point of that game is to just be as low brow and like silly as possible.
Yeah.
Recently, the Saints Row games that made me laugh. Not for like even for like most stupid gags. Like there's one where you're just driving around in a car for a mission, and your characters just start like singing, about 2 steps forward, 1 step back, Paula Abdul song.
Yeah.
and it's just funny. It's just the voice acting and how it's all done. It's good.
Saints Row, Conquest by Third Day, Kingdom Come Deliverance. For me, I don't know. Nino Cooney's made me laugh, because it's just so silly, like the stupid accents. There's a place, what is it called? Something upon Hull, and they're all Northerners. Caxton upon Hull. Why? Like this game made by Japanese, and it's just full of Welsh and Yorkshire accents. It's funny. And then that's about it, really. But thanks very much, Phil. Night in the Woods has got some.
Whenever Greg waves his arms.
It
makes me smile.
Yeah, very, very cool.
Poking the arm with the stick, that was quite fun.
Yeah.
That was quite fun.
Yeah. There's some bits.
A lot of fun in that game.
Thanks very much, Phil McCracken, definitely your real name, for your question. Caleb Moore next, and this is about keyboard and mouse. What do you fellas think about keyboard and mouse on console? Recently, I found out you can plug a keyboard and mouse directly in your PS4 to play Fortnite online.
Ooh,
so many people
do that.
Yeah. So many people seem to be doing it. Some people seem to be blindly against keyboard and mouse, but it can be considered an unfair advantage. It can't be considered an unfair advantage if everyone has the opportunity to use one themselves. Do you think in the future developers might give direct support for keyboard and mouse on console?
Maybe. I don't know. They have experimented with it in the past. I remember, what was it? I think it was Unreal Tournament 3 on the PS3.
Mm-hmm.
You could use keyboard and mouse on that because they gave you like the full modding tools, so you could make characters and stuff.
Very good.
But you could use it in gameplay as well. And I remember that was a big thing when that came out. People saying it was unfair, but then people saying just do it yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, I personally would appreciate it because I'm a keyboard and mouse guy. I always have been. I don't see how it's beneficial to developers to allow some of their a portion of their player base who can afford or who have got access to a keyboard and mouse to have an unfair advantage over the rest, because general accepted consensus is that it is an advantage, right? Using a mouse to aim as opposed to a controller is generally accepted a better control scheme. So why your developer would want your player base or some of your player base to have an unfair advantage like that, I don't see that it's in their interest. But as a player, obviously you want every edge you can get in a game like Fortnite.
Rockstar did it well because in their multiplayer games on console they had different playlists. So you had free aim and aim assist. So if you needed to use aim assist, you would get paired with people who also used aim assist. So if they did something like keyboard and mouse lobbies, that might work.
That makes a lot of sense. That would make a lot of sense.
So when you're only against
level the playing field.
Yeah, exactly.
It'd be quite a simple thing to implement, I imagine, like how there's no microphone lobbies and people got headsets.
Yeah. I'm definitely pro-choice, right? You play. I mean, if you've got the opportunity to be able to use your favourite method of input, do it. Allow people to play in their own comfort zone.
Yeah. For sure. Especially even single player games. You might have a PS4 but not boot it up much, and you do for some exclusives, but you might just feel more comfortable with keyboard and mouse. So why not, So yeah, thanks Caleb, and hopefully more choice in the future. And it's easy as long as they adapt to it with in-game options and things like that.
Yeah.
Hopefully you can stamp out this sort of the competitive game problem, because single player gaming, no problem. Vincent Jones next. Hey boys, with Valve. Hello. With Valve stating they are developing games again, how driven do you think the development is by VR? And do you think we might see the likes of Half-Life spin-off or other series staples like Ricochet 2 or a new Left 4 Dead? Says Vincent Jones. So
Steam are in a unique position in the market, in the PC market specifically, where they can deliver VR experiences ahead of anybody else. So they've got a bit of a market stranglehold. So if you want a VR experience on a PC, what better place to go than Steam, right? So it makes sense that they would offer or look to offer more VR experiences from that point of view, that's for sure. Yeah,
it's a way where, I don't know, Valve like to make new IPs and push things. They don't think they've ever made it past two series sort of staples, have they? Half-Life 2, Left 4 Dead 2, Portal 2. They do have that Steam Labs thing for VR that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I'd like to see them do that, but
that's one of the highest rated VR experiences that Steam Labs.
It's the first
one
I
enjoyed it.
Played properly. It's decent, that, and I think that should be the way that they do go, but I don't know if they ever
I mean, I feel like they're so much better than ploughing all these resources into VR. Why don't they? I mean, I would prefer them to focus on non-VR games, because we all know and love some of the previous games, and we know how good they can be. I mean, with the acquisition of Santa Campo recently, the developers behind Firewatch, they're already making a new game, but hopefully that's not what they mean when they said we'll focus on games again.
Yeah,
they're just acquiring one development studio and letting them develop the games. Hopefully they mean we're using, our programmers that we already have to make awesome games like they used to. But I hear a lot of the original programmers have left the company now.
A lot of the core Valve team have since moved on to
died of old age.
Or, I don't know, maybe.
Half-Life 2 development team. It's been how many years now? 70 years since the last Half-Life game?
Yeah, 71 at least.
God, come on, Valve. Nah, if we've got, I always say on the channel, and I've said it in loads of videos, I'm not a huge Valve fan, but they've got loads of fans, and the fact that they're back means that, nearly every game that they made was a smash hit. So who doesn't want that? Just any game that they do is probably going to be decent. So thanks very much, Vincent Jones, for your question. Next up is Easty Love Games. A couple more before Fact of the Week and Dead Cred Redemption, by the way. That's what Mike does, so I feel like I need to do that. Just let everybody know. Fuck, who cares what Mike does?
Who cares what Mike does? He's not here. He's never going to even watch this. He's not going to even watch it.
Do you know what? He's not.
He's not. He doesn't give a shit about it. He's on the beach somewhere.
Thanks, man. Right, okay. What was your Easty Love Games? What was your first major bug that you remember in a game? And then he's got some anecdotes here. One was Sonic Adventures, where before the whale scene, he was bouncing the bumpers, but passed through one and died. And he also remembers one in Knights of the Old Republic, where if one of the characters that is involved in the next cutscenes in stealth mode, and the character has to interact with them, that they can't, so the game just sort of stops there. So first major bugs you remember in a game?
I think mine was Sonic Adventure as well, I remember that being I don't know, I must have been 5 or 6 years old, and I definitely remember thinking, this isn't just me being bad at the game, something's gone wrong here. Because I think there was a part where I had to talk to Tails to trigger the next mission, but he just wasn't there.
Oh, okay, so right.
And then when I rebooted the game, he was there.
Yeah, I don't think I can remember anything from that early on, major bugs, I don't know.
Recently, State of Decay was very buggy for me. I had 3...
You play it on Xbox?
No, on PC.
Oh, really?
I had 3 crashes to desktops in 2 hours. And one time the entire game just locked up on me, so I had to Alt F4 out of there.
What you guys' first bug?
I mean, if you take the literal sense of bug, I remember Secret of Monkey Islands in the Voodoo woman's thing. There's a little spider in the corner.
Oh, you're an insect.
I thought of that joke, and I was going to say A Bug's Life on PS4.
Like the ant.
But
we all thought of it. Only one of us had
had
the gall to say it.
That's what it was. We were all cowardly over here. I can't remember any first major bugs, but I mean, I've been playing Fallout 4 again this weekend, and it's bug central. It's been patched shitloads. It's been out for 3 years. Bugs all over the shop. First major bug, actually, was Kingdom Come Deliverance. Never had a game-breaking bug until I played Kingdom Come Deliverance. And then I got 3, so when it rains, it pours, I guess. But yeah, I probably...
They used to finish games, they used to be all right. Because the problem with... The thing with older games, right, is they didn't have the option to patch them day one because the internet wasn't as good or whatever. So all the games that I used to play back in my formative years, you could say... didn't have that many bugs because they're dying them out before release.
So there we go. Easty Loves Games, the first major bugs. Hope that helps you on your adventures, your bug collecting adventures. Bug collector Easty wants to fight. Nick Phillips says, "With that's a little Pokemon there reference there for the boys inside."
Went straight over my head.
Nick Phillips said, "With the sad passing of John Bain, rest in peace, I want to ask if you had any major influences on your gaming life growing up, be that critics, celebrities, journalists, or any games-related industry. For me." Well, for Nick, I mean. Games Master TV series with Patrick Moore stands out quite vividly. The PC Gamer magazine from the early 90s really pushed me into my love for the PC, says Nick Phillips. So thanks very much for your question. Gaming influencers. Did you watch anything as a kid?
I mean, it sounds like I'm from the same era. So Games Master would be there wasn't that much in mainstream culture to do with games. So a program like Games Master was always like, what Games Master, whatever. Get your notepad out to write down the cheats.
Yeah.
So PC Gamer again is something I used to subscribe to. So yeah, it seems like the same. It never used to have a load of friends who played games. That's for sure. Never used to be able to go on the internet and find communities and things like that. And there was never any personalities or celebrities into games because gaming wasn't a big thing back then.
Yeah, for me, it's quite similar. I used to get CVG magazine and I used to get Nintendo Power magazine as a kid. And there was this one show on the TV that it was only on occasionally. Can't remember what it was, but it took part on a tropical island. And I think it was a game-related quiz show. And if you lost on the game, you got sent down a trapdoor. I never figured out how they did that because the person would actually fall down a real-life trapdoor into smoke and this green light thing. I can't remember what it was, but it must have been late 90s / early 2000s. It was like just before the internet was popping off, really. But yeah, CVG and Nintendo Power. As for personalities, journalists, not really anybody. I don't really watch much gaming stuff on YouTube. And a lot of people asked that question to us over the years, and I don't really watch much. Obviously, like Total Biscuit was a big co-optional podcast. Actually, I watched a couple of them. I've watched bits of Jim Sterling and stuff like that, but I don't actually watch any of them religiously, really. Varty Vidya maybe, but I'm not interested in him. I'm more interested in the Soulsborne lore and all the stuff like that. So I'm not really a huge follower of people. But what about you, Liam?
This is going to be like really obscure, but I remember in the UK, it must have been around 2002, 2003, there was a dedicated channel on Sky TV that was only just games. I can't remember.
I know what you mean.
And it's probably my first exposure to games coverage because they used to do reviews, previews, impressions, and for some odd reason, in between adverts, they used to do gaming music videos, like you used to see on early YouTube.
Anime music videos, but with game stuff.
Yeah. I remember one. It was Linkin Park to cutscenes of Resident Evil 2.
Someone's going to remember the name of that because I know what you're on about.
It was like a proper full-on channel.
Yeah.
But other than that, there was a what was it? There was a magazine I used to read quite a lot as a teenager called Xbox World 360.
Yeah.
And it had a lot of... It was a good magazine.
Yeah.
I had quite a lot of good writers who've gone on to do bigger and better things. I think Aoife Wilson used to write for it at one point.
Oh, right. And she's gone to Eurogamer.
Eurogamer,
those I don't know.
Yeah, probably those two really. And I watched Total Biscuit and stuff like that. He was very good. And yeah, it's
not really into the... You don't watch... Well, you watch Funhouse a bit,
I watch Funhouse, but I don't think they're a big influence on me.
Yeah.
I like them for their humour and personality and all that.
I just realised that the PlayStation demo discs...
Yes.
It's my biggest influence.
Oh yeah, man, demo discs were huge.
The PlayStation. Do you know what? Even think about it then, I can't remember the PlayStation magazine. I can remember the fucking PlayStation demo discs though.
Yeah.
A PC Gamer used to do demo
That's the
discs,
same thing,
and that's one of the tragic losses of in this
so
day and age. Just to get that disc, and you can't go anywhere on the internet and decide what you want to download.
Yeah.
You only got what's on this disc, and until next month or whatever, you have to play through all of these demos at least a couple of times or whatever.
Yeah,
it was fucking well
good. It's a
good
good way to sample.
Yeah, fantastic.
And you got trailers and shit as well.
Yeah. No downloading, it was instant.
Just artwork as well sometimes, just pictures of wallpaper,
Yeah, it's good.
Right, come on boys, the demo disc.
That shit anymore.
Devil Dice PS1 demo disc.
That's
so good.
Listen, demo disc, that's my biggest inspiration.
Bring back demo discs.
They're really good.
Right, guys, it's time for Fact of the Week.
Okay.
Mike, play that jingle, baby. Now, I feel that other hosts on the podcast have been getting a little bit too cocky with their Facts of the Week, and they've been a little bit too good. So I've got a proper good one for you this week, okay? Mm-hmm. If you enter the password cheese, ! On the Nintendo 64 version of Indiana Jones and the Infernal Machine, you'll see a photo of LucasArts developers. So that was Fact of the Week. And now for our mildly new, it is moderately new segment. It's Dead Cred Redemption. It's a catchy title. Oh yes. This is a section where you, the viewer or listener, send in your anonymous confessions that have killed your street cred. That's why it's Dead Cred. Then the redemption in the title comes from the part where we absolve you of that. We're going to listen to you. We're going to prescribe you a way of getting better as a human being. And we're going to listen to your story. And it's going to be out in the open. It's don't think of it like airing your dirty laundry. Think of it like
a support group.
Yeah, we're purging that from outside. Mm-hmm. So look, anyway, brace yourself, boys. But also listen with an open heart. Because we might need to absolve this gentleman here that sent.
Do we get a choice? Can we just tell him to go on his way?
If you really, if you think,
if we think it's that bad,
we've not. So this is our third one, I think, and we've not got to one where it's been so bad that we've just said, "Listen, you're on your own." Not even the gods can help you. I'm going to be like, it's a bit of a long one, but bear with me, okay? So this human being here wants to remain anonymous, and that's the beauty of this segment. Hopefully there's some nice music here. Okay, let it begin. During my childhood, from about 1999 to 2005, I exclusively played the same couple of games again and again and again. Donald Duck, Quack Attack, Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped, and Heart of Darkness, all on the PS1. And Star Wars Revenge of the Sith on the PS2. Every day I would play the first level of some of these games, often reach the second level, occasionally reach the third level, and sometimes the fourth level, but I was never able to complete an entire game. On a weekend, I would take it in turns with my younger brother to attempt to complete one of these games, but to no avail. These were hard games, and we would die and die again. Each day, starting afresh from level 1, I would go again and attempt to beat these games, but my child self was never witness to the end credits. Then one day, when I was 11 years old, something happened. I was introduced to the very manifestation of something beyond comprehension of my wildest dreams. I was introduced to the memory card. This phenomenon had existed for the entirety of me playing these games. I couldn't bear to tell my brother that hundreds of hours we'd spent on the same games again and again had been entirely unnecessary. I lied to him and said memory cards had only just been released. To this day, he still thinks memory cards were released in 2006. PGG, not only am I a moron, I am a despicable liar. Please, he actually did say that. Please redeem me. Best wishes and keep up the great content, your anonymous confessor. Look, he's trying to sweeten us up at the end.
Yeah, what's nice about that, he's trying to spare his brother's feelings, really. He doesn't want his brother to be despairing. Like, I mean, he's coming from a good place. He also doesn't want to face the shame as well. But
do you feel like you could let him go? Do you feel like what?
I can sympathise with the pain.
Okay.
Because when on my PS1 when I was a kid,
right,
we did have a memory card, but it broke, and we didn't replace it for like a year. So I had to play games. If I wanted to finish a game, I pretty much had to do it in one sitting. I remember I started playing. I can't remember. I think it was Final Fantasy 9. And I'm getting to the end of disc 1, but because I didn't have a memory card at the time, I was like, that was like 15 hours of progress gone.
Yeah, that's horrible.
So I had to swap over to the next disc, and I was like, ugh.
Now imagine that.
So I can sympathise with the pain.
Imagine that, but you lied to somebody else about that out of cowardice. Now,
cowardice. I mean, that's one.
Now, here's what I've got to say, sir. Your parents, okay, because you were only a kid, right? So you might not have had the budget for a memory card. So I'm assuming that your parents bought you this PlayStation. Maybe if they had a little look at it or looked into it a little bit more, you know what I mean? They'd probably call it a game box, not a PlayStation. They've gone, we've got the kids the game box. We've got everything you need. Let's buy them all the games. They should have looked into it. I don't know how much of this lies on your head here. Either way, I feel that we can pass the judgment and say he is redeemed. He took a brave step. Mm-hmm. But if your brother still doesn't know, maybe just, if you don't want to tell him yourself, you can send him the link to this video and we'll tell you, brother, your older brother is a liar and PlayStation memory cards have been around for a long, long time. There we go. That's it. You've been redeemed. Thank you very, very much, Anonymous Confessor. We appreciate your time and thanks very much for sending a nice lengthy issue to be resolved. If you want to send your own Dead Cred story to us, your confessions, anonymous always, and please do. It's gaming@goliathmedia.com. Goliath-media.com. Doesn't matter what I'm saying because it'll be here on the screen right now because we've got a fantastic editor and he does that for us. Lots of people send these in. So little tips. Mike is a bit, if it doesn't get him straight away, he will just read it and go no. So he says the top tips are keep it quite short and keep it engaging. Okay, so maybe look online how to write a story because he's a little bit anal about it. All right. So yeah.
Mike's a journalist, right? He's trained in writing, and so if you don't get his interest in 2 sentences, man, you're out the door.
So there we go. That is Dead Cred Redemption for this week. Thank you very, very much, and we will take a brief revisit to the Dead Cred Redemption world towards the end of this podcast. More on that later. A couple of questions left before we wrap up for this week. Thanks for sticking with us. Matthew John Jenkins next says, all right. My topic and question for you is about AI. I saw a video on something in the tech news recently called Google Duplex, and then he sent a link to this thing, which I watched, and
you were gobsmacked.
Yeah, it blew me
speechless. A speechless Jake. I was speechless that Jake was speechless because that doesn't happen.
It blew my mind. This did. If you don't know what this is, Google Duplex. It's like suplex but with a D. Now it's basically a Siri, but on steroids. And Matthew John Jenkins' question is this. It got me thinking about how publishers could use this in shady ways with their games when the AI advances even more. And my question to you is, do you think games with online multiplayer will use something like this in the future, combined with bots, to trick people into thinking that they're playing with other people when they're actually playing with AI bots? What do you guys think? The replacement of humanity?
If they're nicer than actual people,
it's one way to combat toxicity, isn't it?
Yeah.
If they're like just nice to you and encouraging, I'm down with that.
It'd be nicer than people
until you get the inevitable someone falls in love with the bot.
That's what I was saying. I nearly replied to Matthew John Jenkins. That's the plot of Ex Machina 2.
Have you ever seen the film Her? It's the same thing, isn't it? He falls in love with his phone assistant.
Imagine you're a poor guy, like you haven't used Nubble. If you haven't checked that out, check our video about that out. And you're quite a lonely dude looking for friends. You make friends with someone. They seem great. Mm-hmm. And it's because they're a robot. You'd be gutted, wouldn't you? Imagine if your best mate turned out to be a robot and you didn't know because they're not going to tell you.
Well, what's the difference if you never meet them, though?
Yeah, true. Although inevitably...
That's interesting, right? Because unless you're looking to meet the said people, it doesn't actually matter. If this person makes you feel better, whether it's AI or whether it's a real person, it makes you feel good about yourself, makes you enjoy the games that you have, gives you a better experience. I'd argue, what is the difference?
Now, this is a huge conversation that's been covered by many, many things, and it's not necessarily good or bad. However, it is scary.
It's morally grey in the fact that there's no disclosure, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm. But we don't know because this hasn't even happened yet. Google might not put... There might be... genuinely mean this. There could even be like laws that you have to disclose. Yeah. You might have to ask somebody... there might have to be something there where it's a robot. Because if they don't tell you... especially with games and stuff like that. If EA did this, for example... So just use EA because why not? And they did it. You're playing with bots. But they were nice and they were talking... I mean, I'd be for it. But if they didn't tell you... What would they gain from that, though?
Well, people are enjoying their experience because who wants to play with a 13-year-old kid who's going to be effing and blinding and telling you that he's doing awful things to your parents and stuff like that? True. Nobody wants that. I don't want that, and that's probably the reason why I veer away from playing with randoms online. And if this was an opt-in option, I would do it.
Yeah. Exactly. So it's not necessarily a bad thing, is it? No.
Yeah. I mean, I think you have to disclose it. If you've got AI bots in there who will talk to you and be nice to you and compliment you on your awesome, neat skills or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, obviously they can't see the hair, but
we could probably program them to do that. I'd like that as well. That'd be good. Just be nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Then
I don't see a problem.
It could. Yeah, there's pros and cons. So Google Duplex, have a look at it. I don't know.
It's scary clever. I mean, you think about AI that's in games. Obviously, AI isn't games aren't the only medium where AI exists. Obviously, Google are expanding it with their assistant and things like that. Yeah. They can program it to schedule a hair appointment for you. Mm-hmm. I mean, and hold a proper conversation with another real human being and make out and seem like another human being itself. That advancement in AI can only mean good things for AI in games, surely. I feel like AI in games is an area that can be improved, and it's an area that needs a lot of research and a lot of programming. That people can have a degree in AI and just work specifically on games. So I feel like whatever medium or whatever direction AI gets taken forward, I feel it can only be good with it. It can eventually will drip feed into the gaming industry and make our games better. I feel like that's a good thing. Although it might scare you that you can order a.
Listen, I've seen Westworld, all right. I know how it's going to end.
I've played Detroit though. I played Detroit.
This pro robot motherfucker over here. Skin job. What's that called? So yeah, thank you very much, Matthew Jenkins, for the fucking terrifying question. Don't ask a scary one next week. Joe Smith, do what you want. Joe Smith, hey PGG crew, hope this comment finds you well. It's here, all right. If I recall correctly, Mike is quite into photo modes in games.
He is, very much so.
That's true. Do any of the other Pretty Good Gamer members enjoy photo modes? And do you post your pictures anywhere? Is there a place to post pictures of games?
It just goes on your PSN profile, I think, if you do it on your PS4.
Some sort of like Instagram for games.
Instagram for games.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty boring, man. That'd be the most boring. for me.
Exactly.
Does that answer your question?
That'd
be well boring, man.
It's Reddit, isn't it? People post their screenshots to Reddit all the time.
Yeah, that's true.
Do they?
I actually did once. The most upvoted, the most.
Check out my screenshot.
I've never ever taken a picture in a game, apart from one time when, funny enough, we just talking about Westworld. It was in Horizon Zero Dawn last year, and there was a place in Westworld that looked exactly like the same geography as Westworld's cradle from season 1 of Westworld. So I just took a picture of it in photo mode and then just uploaded it to Reddit, and it was like front page of gaming or whatever. And that was, so that, I guess that answers your question. I did do that once, and it worked out great for me. However,
how much, like, what's the credits?
Upvotes.
Yeah, how many?
6,000 upvotes.
6,000 upvotes. I mean,
big spender.
Just
thought you'd throw that out there.
No,
that is the reason why he's got these fucking questions. He's not fucking stupid. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've fucked off like 20 questions for them. No,
just so you can brag about your one Reddit post.
No, it's true though. I've only done it once. I heard that there's like, when they announce photo mode, I always just take the piss out of Mike. Basically, I just think, haha, Mike will like that, but don't know why really, because Kratos has got one with him smiling. Yeah, whatever. And photo modes can look really cool, and there's lots of really great opportunities for photo mode. No Man's Sky would be particularly interesting to me and shit like that. But yeah, I'm not a huge fan of photo mode, but I don't care. It's like real life photography. I'm not into it, but if someone showed me a picture, I wouldn't be like, sorry mate, not interested. You just go, that's a nice picture, don't you? Do you know what I mean? It's about as far as it goes.
Yeah.
Apart from that one time on Reddit.
You're so transparent.
Thank you about that. Anyone else?
No, I'm not a big fan of photo mode. However, having just played Detroit Become Human, and I strongly believe that the visuals on that are just exceptional. If there was a game that needed photo mode,
I thought you were going to say that there was photo mode, and I was like, that would be good. But and you, Liam?
I don't think I've never taken one.
I only take screenshots by accident when I'm just pressing the wrong button. That's the only time I take screenshots. Or when I've got a chicken dinner or something. It's like, fucking hell. Let's take a fucking screenshot of that.
I've never got into like the nitty gritty of, like The Last of Us has that really in-depth photo mode, doesn't it? Where you can adjust like your depth of field and your aperture and everything.
Proper like hello.
Yeah, I've never got into that.
So there we go, Joe Smith. That's what we think about photo mode. Is there anywhere that you can just post game screenshots? Please let me know. Thank you very much. Okay, last question of the week. And this is what I was on about with the little revisit. Elliot Gardner, and he says, hey lads, really enjoying Dead Cred Redemption. Much more than 30-second throwdown / Zen Garden. All right. I wonder if you guys have any embarrassing video game confessions that have been weighing on your conscience. I am aware it will not be an anonymous confession, but I am nonetheless curious. And that's our final question for the week. So, video game confessions. I don't know if I've got any really, really bad ones. I can remember like the most, for fuck's sake, video game moment ever. Would you like me to elaborate?
Yeah.
Do it.
Okay. Here's the thing. I was playing Final Fantasy VII as a child, and it was bedtime. Mum and Dad said, Jake, it's time for bed. Okay, cool, whatever, Mum, Dad, whatever. You're not the boss of me. But they were, so I did. Anyway, I turned the light off, put a little cardboard little cut thing on my PlayStation Lite so it didn't look like it was on. And then when they're asleep, back on, playing PlayStation, playing Final Fantasy 7, got really good into it. Really fun. Anyway, up quite late. This was like a Friday night or whatever, so I didn't even have school in the morning. Smashing it, blah 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 blah. And I was playing it, and I got past this boss that I was stuck on. It's the one in Cosmo Canyon where you can actually just fucking Phoenix down it. But I didn't know that as a kid, and it levered me. Anyway, did it. Woohoo. Right near the end of the Cosmo Canyon thing. And that's it. I go to the toilet. I've been playing for a while. And for some fucking reason, maybe because I've been a fucking idiot since I was born, not just now. It's not just grown on me. I've been an idiot since I was born. So I went for a wee. This is about 1 or 2 in the morning now. I walked back into my room. The light's off because I remember that I'm supposed to be asleep. I had my telly off at the time because I didn't want to, draw suspicion whilst the door was open. I was going for a wee. So then I turned my telly on and I turned my PlayStation on autopilot mode because I can't see the light because it's got the thing on. But obviously, I had my PlayStation on already. And I just forgotten about that. So I just fucking turned my PlayStation off, lost all my progress, couldn't tell anyone about it because it was 2 in the morning. I wanted to scream, but I couldn't because it was 2 in the morning. So I was there in the dark with just the blue light of the telly with no SCART connection or whatever it was, in silent rage and shame.
Dying on the inside.
And then I couldn't go to sleep because I was so sad. So then I was alone with my thoughts for about an hour, so pissed off. That's the closest I've got to a video game like confession. But really, it's just me being an idiot. What do you reckon to that?
That's amazing, Jake. That is brilliant. And I'm glad that you've felt strong enough to share that with us because that is quite idiotic.
Honestly, I remember trying to go to sleep and I was like, I fucking did it. I was trying to remember what I was doing. I was like, what did I do? Trying to remember my moves set and all that shit. So I mean, that's
we all make mistakes, dude. We all make mistakes.
I know.
Thanks for sharing. I'm sure.
And do you know what?
You'll grow as a person.
If my mum and dad are listening, and my dad won't, but my mum might listen. The lesson is here. If I just done what they'd said, I wouldn't have had to go through the shame of doing that. If I just listened. Because then I didn't beat that boss for another 3 or 4 days, and I wouldn't have known the sweet, sweet taste of victory, only to dash it all away when I went for a midnight piss. So that's the lesson that I've learned.
I mean, if only you'd listened to me in the first place, that wouldn't have happened. Is one of the things I say most as a parent. So I can totally get on board with that. Yeah. Maybe you should just listen to your parents, and that goes to anybody else out there. Yeah. Just listen to your parents, and life will go a lot smoother.
20 years I've carried that. So there you go. Any confessions, guys, or?
It's not nearly as good as yours, but
how do we follow that?
I remember playing Ape Escape on the PS1.
Okay.
And I remember they were heavily advertising, like, this is the game that uses both analog sticks. And I was like, my God, that's amazing. Yeah. But up until this point, I realised I'd never really played a game with the analog sticks.
Yeah.
And so I was playing the tutorial, and I was insistent, like, the game was broken.
Because you can't move.
Yeah, because I couldn't move. And then when I did finally figure out how to move, like, the second analog stick wasn't working. But yeah, and I was like, because I was like 4 or 5 at the time, I was getting really upset. And then pretty much, I was complaining, my dad came in and he was like, press this button. And he turned, had the little button on the PS1 controller, it turns analog on.
Yeah, the little red, it turns red when it's on.
Fuck me, I was embarrassed. Even as a 4-year-old, I thought, how can I be that stupid?
I can remember buying an analog controller just for the demo of Ape Escape because I didn't even have a dual shot then.
It was like, but before that time, I only ever played games using the D-pad.
Yeah, because most games were made for the D-pad on the PlayStation.
And I didn't know what that button did, so I never used it. And I was a little 4-year-old idiot.
Thanks for sharing.
You're absolved. You're absolved.
I have many confessions.
Okay.
They're not nearly about my own stupidity. They're just about confessions in general, right? Mm-hmm. And I've not felt comfortable sharing this with people. And trigger warning, by the way, because this might upset a few people. I don't even know what this is.
Okay. Let's go.
In the big goods.
Yes, that's it.
I don't like Hideo Kojima games.
Oh, that's fine.
Oh, we knew that.
Yeah, we kind of figured that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've never
I don't have to leave.
You've never come in once and gone, do you know what I love, lad? Snake Eater. So everyone else I'll see. Liam comes in and goes, God, I go, how are you? How was your weekend?
I feel like
sometimes he just looks at me and goes, God, I love Snake Eater. And sometimes I say to Mike, do you want a drink? And he goes, God, I love Snake Eater. So the fact that you've never done that means that
it's a giveaway.
Yeah, I mean, you and Sydney from the beginning Hideo, you know.
I mean, there's a reason I didn't mention it earlier because I didn't want to upset people.
There's more out there like you.
Now you've asked for a confession. I mean, I already feel better.
The bad news is you will now, after you've said this, you're going to get cast out to a separate island.
I didn't like The Witcher.
Unfortunately,
I don't dislike The Witcher. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I just didn't like The Witcher. Yeah. Right,
that's the problem. That was strike one. You want a suspended sentence?
I'm a strike two.
Video game police
it's
are going to get you.
It's like YouTube strikes now. It's like one more and I'm fucking deleted.
That's it. God, I hope you've only got positive things to say about Baldur's Gate.
I'll tell you what I think about God of War then. I am joking.
So that's a video game. That's a video game confession from every member of the team here. That's a big one. I'm gonna let the comment section deal with that. Nah, just kidding. I'm sure. Do you know what? I'm sure there's a lot of people that don't like Hideo Kojima games, especially people that don't own PlayStations, which is, remember, quite a lot of people.
I mean, you've got to play them to be able to judge them. I played Metal Gear Solid 5 for 2 hours and then just got out the cutscene and thought, nah. This isn't for me. I was on my horse in the desert and
this?
2 hours of my...
What was that whale for in space or whatever? That fire whale at the beginning.
Yeah.
No, I can see where you're coming from. It's like I was saying earlier, it's so crazy that it's going to hit some people and it's going to miss people. It's not safe enough. And do you know what? It might even just bore people because they'll be like, oh, I'll do all this gameplay just for a stupid cutscene. I can see it.
It got progressively weirder as his games go on as well.
Yeah.
Metal Gear Solid 1 was, apart from the really techno-babble-filled story, it was pretty normal. You were like a secret agent infiltrating a base.
I want to put out there that I don't dislike The Witcher 3. I don't dislike Hideo Kojima games. I just don't like them. I would never say they're bad games, right?
Yeah.
I just don't have any connection with them.
You're not excited for the next...
Death Stranding? Nah.
Yeah.
I know it's Hideo Kojima.
See if we can change that issue. I'm glad that you said that.
Prove me wrong, Hideo. I'd love you to.
I'm glad that you said that because I know you're going to have an open mind anyway.
Yeah.
And maybe, and also, if it does change, you'll say. So
of course.
I'm excited to see if we can change that. Me, Mads and Hideo. With Liam and Norm. So there we go, guys. Thank you very much for listening to podcast number 66. Business as usual next week with Mr. Mike Williams on hosting again. But yeah, thanks very much, Liam and Gaz.
Thank you.
It's been me, your boy Jake Kulkowski. Cheers very much. If you've got any questions, remember to send them in through our Patreon feed. Dead Cred Redemption is an email address that I gave you earlier. Go find that and email in if you want to. Should be some more content on the screen actually if you're watching the video disc. So go and check that out. Go and look at our Patreon. Watch more of our videos. Be safe. See you soon. Bye bye.